Okay. Hello. How are you doing? I hope you are doing well. Okay. Let's start off with my folk. Say hi. So Kayla's number 1. Tay's number 2. Janelle. Danny. Kenny. Y'all my top 5 commenters of the day. Nicholas was in here early. A little too early. I give you top commenter of the day when you come in right when I go live. Just to be fair to everybody. So shout out to y'all for coming in early. Appreciate it. Meow. It's time to get into this mess. this messy mess that we call Monday Night Raw. They did what they were supposed to do, capitalizing off of SummerSlam, which was amazing, by the way. A bit predictable, but in a good way, because now we get to see the implosion of the old Judgment Day, or the second version of the Judgment Day, and now we see the new version of the Judgment Day. It's a little rinky dink for me, but live your best life, okay? Whatever makes you happy. And I want to talk about something too when we do this, because there seems to be a little misunderstanding, and I want to clear something up just a little bit. Some people seem to be very upset. Okay. So hold tight. Let me get everything gathered before I gather a few folks. A few people that seem to be in their feelings, honey. Okay. They are in their feelings. Now, let's talk about it. In the words of Carmelo Hayes, I was watching Monday Night Raw, and I happened to get a DM. And let me clear this up. So the person who sent me the DM, they ended up apologizing after I got their ass together. Okay, but we finna talk a little bit about long-term storytelling. Okay. And it's gonna involve Rhea Ripley. Okay. And it's gonna involve Rhea, and it's gonna involve Finn, and it's gonna involve the Judgment Day as a collective. Okay, so let's get that straight and squared away. Okay, but first let me get some of these comments out the way. Hello, Layla. Layla is one of my members, so I have to say hi to her. Hey, girl. Hey, girl. Hey. How you doing? Does anyone think that Jey and Sami will win the tag titles before they head back to SmackDown? Sure. No issues with that. If they decide to win the tag team titles with Jey and Sami, it'll be a little bit of a consolation prize for Jey, in my opinion. But, whatever they have to do to make this work, I'm all for it. Hello. Why is these niggas unhappy now? Jeez, I'm finna tell you. I'm finna tell you what had happened. Okay? I love my Terror twins together. She said, I'm too lit for this without the liquor. Hell no. So let me tell you what happened. I was watching Raw, doing my 1-2 punch with everything, trying to get everything uploaded, and I get a surprise little DM. And in this DM, they basically were upset with me because they felt like I was switching up on Liv and cheering for Rhea Ripley and not giving Liv her props. You always booing Liv. You always disrespecting Liv. Liv isn't the villain in this story. So let me just make it so that it's very clear, right? When you watch a movie and let's say we watching, let me put it where a villain turned out to be a hero and the hero turned out to be, let's go with Face Off, right? If you ain't never seen the movie Face Off, let me make it clear. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage is probably one of the best movies that they've done. It's one of my favorite movies. Face Off is one of my favorite movies. And it's an action movie, and it's about a cop who has been pursuing this criminal, and he's a career criminal. He has a whole criminal enterprise, and he's a sociopath. Let's just get it out the way. He's a sociopath. And he is his Batman, and this is his Joker. This is essentially what we got in terms of Face Off. We got a real life Batman and Joker situation out of Face Off. Okay? Face Off, Nicolas Cage's character, Castor Troy, put a bomb in the middle of Los Angeles. They got to figure out where it is. The only problem is Castor is in a coma. So they come up with the brilliant idea for John Travolta's character to go and get plastic surgery, change his whole face, body, everything, and become Castor Troy to figure out where this bomb is and get it out of LA before it kills hundreds of thousands of people. What ultimately ends up happening is Castor Troy wakes up and takes on the persona of John Travolta's character in the movie. So essentially, the hero and the heel switch places. You end up rooting for John Travolta's character, more specifically, Nicolas Cage's character, Castor Troy, and you end up hating John Travolta's character in the end of the movie. I say all that to say this. When it comes to Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, it's more convoluted than you just rooting for the face and the heel. It's about you having morals, right? And it's about you having respect, right? Now, don't get me wrong. In the beginning of this story, when Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest and Edge were the Judgment Day, they were going after Rey Mysterio, and they were taking Dominic Mysterio out. Every chance they got, they was going after Dom. You know, she pushed his sister down. She attacked him on multiple occasions. But then Rhea realized you could get more flies with honey, if that makes sense. Right? Now, who in turn began to be on the Judgment Day side in the end of this? That was Dominic Mysterio. So even though Rhea Ripley did all the things that she did to him, he was the one who chose to be by her side, despite the fact that he knew what she did to his family and what she did to him. He chose her in the end. And in the end, you get the Stockholm syndrome where the boy ended up falling in love with the girl. We talking about storyline wise. Don't get too deep into it. We talking about stories. Now, as the story progresses, Dominic Mysterio begins to flourish in the Judgment Day and at Rhea Ripley's side. She encourages him to go after the North American Championship. He becomes a two-time North American champion. Irregardless of how he got it and how he keeps it, he had the titles, and that is something that has to be acknowledged. While he is with the Judgment Day, he is revered as one of the most hated superstars in WWE. Now, during this time, the storyline between Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan was just starting to develop. Liv Morgan was living her best life in the tag team division. And Rhea Ripley didn't like the fact that Liv and Raquel, let's keep it all the way 100, were constantly involving themselves in her business, so she says. But what it really was about was keeping those who she knew were worthy adversaries out of her way. It was a fear-mongering tactic, right? So as the story progresses, she was able to take out Raquel for a little while, but Liv was a little nagging bug that was in her ear. So instead of having the match straight up, she goes after Liv's arm and sits her on the shelf for 9 months, almost a year, right? Now, at that point, all of us was on Liv's side. All of us. Except for those who was rooting for Rhea Ripley, no matter what team she played for. Okay? When Liv decides to come back, this is after Rhea has gone through Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez. This is after Rhea has gone through January 6th, stupid ass. And then her biggest adversary and probably one of her biggest challenges in Becky Lynch next to Charlotte Flair, she was able to best her on the grandest stage of them all. So Rhea Ripley was on a high. She was happy. She was living her best life. And for most of those matches, if not all of her title defenses, which now I believe all of her title defenses were done clean. There was no interference. Rhea Ripley went over clean on each opponent. Very similar to what was going on with Gunther while he was Intercontinental Champion. With all that being said, though, there was still the lingering opportunity that Liv Morgan was going to get her back. And when Liv Morgan reemerged and made her return, she vowed to take everything away from Rhea Ripley. Slowly but surely, she implemented the first phase of her plan, which was waiting until after WrestleMania and attacking Liv Morgan and taking her down, or attacking Rhea Ripley and taking her down. I don't think the attack was meant to take Rhea Ripley out for real, which that ended up happening, but it did lend some credence to the story. Now, in the beginning, when Liv did what she did, of course I wasn't mad at her. Liv Morgan deserved the right to get the revenge on Rhea Ripley because Rhea Ripley is the one who cost her time in the E and took away moments off of her career. While Rhea Ripley was riding high and living her best life, Liv Morgan was sitting at home on the shelf nursing her shoulder. And then she had the opportunity to return the favor. So I wasn't mad at sis for that. If you go back into the archives, bitch, you will hear it for yourself. But I digress. Let me finish telling the story. As Rhea Ripley sat home for 3 months, Dominic Mysterio claimed he loved his mommy, right? But every time he got the opportunity to be fondled, sexually harassed, and of course, seduced, enticed, whatever you want to call it, Liv Morgan did that. Every chance she got, with the help of Finn Balor. Whether you want to believe it or not, Liv Morgan has become the villain in the story. How? Why? Why does she do that? Well, let's make it very simple. If the whole point was to destroy the Judgment Day from within inside, your job is done. You've done that. You have already taken away from Rhea Ripley everything. You got her man, right? You got her title, right? There's nothing else for you to take from her. She is already done, as you put it. So tell me, what use do you have for Dominic Mysterio? Besides rubbing it in Rhea Ripley's face. And if we're being honest, did you really take much from her? I mean, she was literally nursing a grown man child week after week. He was hanging from the teeth. So what did you really take? He left her teeth and went over to yours. So congratulations. You're officially a home wrecking whore. With all that being said, you asked how that makes her the villain. At least that's what you asked me in my DMs. And I'll tell you how. Because when your mission is complete, you're supposed to proceed and move forward, not step into the place and then attack and dismantle other people the way that you were. You see, if Liv Morgan was all about just making sure she got her revenge, then The Miz and R-Truth would still have their tag team titles right now. Finn Balor and JD McDonough would not be tag team champions, and the Judgment Day would be no more. If the job was to destroy everything Rhea Ripley created or had something to do with, then it would be over and Judgment Day would have imploded from the inside. But the only thing y'all did was replace the two leaders with yourselves. You played on Finn Balor's hatred and anger towards Damien for being champion. And on you played on Dom's naivety, and you rested in JD McDonough's hatred of Damian Priest because Damian Priest hates him. You rested in the fact that Rhea Ripley was the strongest in the group. She was the leader. She was the one who put everything together. And that's what held them together. It wasn't Finn, it wasn't Dom, and it wasn't Damian. It was Rhea Ripley. But you didn't just want to dismantle Rhea Ripley. You want to take her place. You want to be her. That's what makes her a villain. Now, y'all can run it back 50 different times. over and over and over again. But the fact of the matter is, Liv Morgan decided to step on everybody, in order to do what she needed to do with Rhea Ripley. Now, however many bodies you leave in the wake of your destruction makes you a villain as well, because you don't care about nobody else but yourself. Liken Liv Morgan to Drew McIntyre. If we're being fair, Drew McIntyre technically isn't that much of a villain, but he became one the moment he decided that everything was about him and everybody else was a catalyst in his plan. It's the same situation, same toilet, different shitter. So please stop insulting my intelligence. Please stop acting like an idiot. If you want to root for Liv Morgan and her gene draws every week, then bitch, be my guest. Do whatever makes you happy. Okay? But as for me and my house, okay, we do what the fuck I want to do. I'm not listening to nothing you got to say. Y'all are allowed to cheer for who you want. You can boo whoever you want. That is your business. Just don't come in my DMs telling me how I should and shouldn't root and act. That is all. I just want to give y'all a quick little breakdown right quick, because sometimes y'all be trying to fuck with me, and I don't understand that. I don't get it. Okay, I don't understand it. But let's get into it. Okay. Raw kicked off with Gunther. Gunther is champion. Congratulations. The key part about this was not the speech or the bullshit with Ludwig. None of that mattered. The only thing that mattered when it came to Gunther is the fact that Gunther's opponent at Bash in Berlin is none other than his former opponent in the King of the Ring tournament, Randy Orton. Now, Randy came out there to a very big welcoming reception. That was in Baltimore, by the way. Randy came out there and essentially was like, congratulations, you champion. The title looks great on you. I'm happy for you. But you and I got unfinished business. Hell, even Triple H said we got unfinished business. Now, he said, don't get me wrong. I ain't got nothing to do with the ref's decision. You know, and I know my shoulders were not down on the mat. And it's cool. The referee's discretion is the referee's discretion. But even Triple H knows that there should be a Gunther versus Orton part 2. And I think that part 2 is happening at Bash in Berlin. So what's up? And Gunther was like, I will admit that my not pinning you clean in that match was a stain on my career. And I was like, okay, so if we talking about stains, are we talking about the stain that just happened this past Saturday too? Because technically you didn't pin Damian Priest clean either. But that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. Okay? I'm just causing it like I see. Now the boys was very cordial with each other. There was no fighting. There was no fake RK. There was no RKOs, no fake outs, no out of nowhere. You know, there was no big boots, no chest slapping. Gunther was very professional, holding his championship the way a champion should. Respect. And as they embraced and Gunther accepted the challenge for Bash in Berlin, Gunther said, make no mistake though, that's the last time you're going to surprise me in any way, shape, or form. Ain't gonna be no RKOs out of nowhere. And Randy said, you know what, Gunther, I respect that. But he's like, don't worry. The RKO ain't gonna come out of nowhere, babe. Because I want you to see me coming. Gave him a little shoulder tap and walked his happy ass to the back. Okay? And that was the end of that. But the first match for Bash in Berlin has been booked and it is ready. Gunther will defend his world championship against Randall Orton. Now, I saw online some people was pretty upset about this. They felt like Damian Priest should be going up against Gunther in a rematch for his championship. But I think that this little swerve for Gunther is the best thing to do, especially for Randy. This will get Randy out the way when it comes to bloodline business for the moment. And maybe we can find a way to pull Kevin out of bloodline business as well, and let the bloodline handle the bloodline and let Cody handle whatever Cody got coming. Because we may see Kevin versus Cody at Bash in Berlin. You feel what I'm saying? Like, they got to find some kind of way to break this up until they circle back to the Bloodline and Cody because they're gonna circle back to them. Royal Rumble and Mania is gonna circle back to them. Elimination Chamber, it's gonna circle back to all of them. You feel me? With all that being said, loves, this is the first match that's booked for Saturday, August 31st, and this is going to be the last show of the summer, air quotes, okay? Because it's on August 31st, okay? Technically, it's still summer because it's still gonna be warm. It's still gonna be warm out. You know what I'm saying? When she started doing side missions, she became a villain. She was a villain the moment she started going after Dominic Mysterio. End of the conversation. I don't care what none of y'all talking about. Nobody. Don't care. Don't do it. All right. So we're done with Gunther. Okay. I don't even remember what else happened. That's your opinion. You can have it. You're probably one of very few people who believe that, but that's your opinion. You're allowed to have that. Anyway, so what happened after that? I don't remember what happened after that. Oh, Sheamus. So Sheamus got a match with Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser came back this week. Ludwig was injured, so he's been gone for a while. And Ludwig been blaming Sheamus for this injury. Now, Sheamus got a lot of bodies, okay? Sheamus got Pete coming after him every week. Sheamus got Ludwig coming after him every other week. And Sheamus at one point had Bronson Reed coming after him. It's like Sheamus is very popular, honey. He's a very popular king. But Sheamus did say he was like, if you want to fight, bitch, let's go. If you want a piece, I give you a piece. In the words of a famous content creator, if you want a burger, you get a burger. If you want a french fry, get you a french fry. Okay. Anyways, Sheamus had his match with Ludwig, and despite Pete Dunne's interference, Ludwig Kaiser lost the match to Sheamus. Sheamus was able to pick up the W. Now, here's where things get a little sticky, yicky. You see, Bronson Reed was in the back talking to Adam Pearce's wide hipped ass, and he was mad because he felt like he was like, "How the fuck Sheamus get a match on TV and I don't get no match?" I don't understand why he mad about that. People get matches all the fucking time, and it just seemed like an odd reason to be pissed off. But he decided to go off on a tangent and tell Adam, he was like, first of all, this match with Sheamus was booked last week. I don't know what the fuck you mad about, but it has nothing to do with him getting favoritism. And he was like, every week you got excuses. You always giving excuses about shit. He was like, well, since you don't want to give me nothing, I'll take it and matters into my own hands and do it on my own. Now, at one point, we ain't know what that meant, but later on, we find out exactly what that means. Now, Lyra Valkyria went out there and went up against January 6th, I think. Yeah, it was January 6th. I'm be honest with you, baby. I didn't watch it. Okay. And it's no shade to Lyra or nothing. I did keep the TV on for the sake of the ratings so the ratings don't go down for the girls because I don't want them to not put them on TV. But I don't care for Sonya's little stud line group. That group don't move me. She's boring and they're boring. So I could care less about what they got going on or what they doing. And to me, them constantly going up against Lyra and then now with damage control, I'm not interested in either of them. I'm not interested. So I'd rather not watch it and go on by my business than to watch it. I'll say this, Lyra Valkyria is cute. Her makeup was cute today. I thought her gear was nice. She always had pretty decent gear or whatever, but I wasn't interested in nothing that Sonya had going on or anything that Lyra and them had going on. So I didn't watch it. I assume January 6th won that match. I don't know. I know that Damage Control came out there and they attacked them. The stud line ran away. Then in the back later on in the night, they attacked Dakota because Dakota had a match with Sonya, took Dakota out. Dakota was no longer able to clear to compete. So Io competed in her place. And Io and Sonya had a decent match. on Io's side. Sonya was a little stiff, in my opinion. She looked okay in terms of her striking or whatever, but she kept doing a lot of repetitive shit. There wasn't no there. I don't know what it is about Sonya now, but it just seems like a lot of what she's doing is just so. It's very bland. It's very bland. It's very plain, and I'm just bored. I'm bored of her, and she only been there for a minute. She only been back for a hot second. I'm bored of her. I'm bored of January 6th. I'm just bored. I want something different, and I don't. And they're not it. It's just like it's like getting a bowl of grits and cheese and fixing your mouth with some grits and cheese and some grits and maybe you like a little shrimp in yours. Some people like a little sausage, a little toast. You get ready to eat it, ain't no salt in the shit. It's nasty. You're like, damn, you couldn't put a little salt in here, a little pepper, something. Oh, they just stink, y'all, and I'm just not here for it. But like I said, this match got changed, and it ended up being Io, to which Io was able. I think Io picked up the W. She did. She beat Sonya, and Sonya and them had to eat a loss. Next week it's gonna be Damage Controls, Kyrie Sane, and Io Sky versus January 6th and Shayna Baszler. Whoever wins will become the number one contender for the tag team championships. Sure, go off. Whatever makes you happy. Now let's talk about the other screw job that happened over on on Monday Night Raw. It was a lot of screw jobs, honey. A lot of screws. Oh, we got one more match to talk about before we talk about this. So Final Testament was talking mad shit about Kofi and Xavier. And Kofi and Xavier came out there. They had the match with Final Testament, AOP in within Final Testament. They didn't go up against Karrion. And then Odyssey Jones popped up, y'all. I hadn't seen Odyssey Jones in a long time, and he looked like he was in amazing shape. He did absolutely wonderful out there, helping them get the W. Now, as the match ended and Final Testament walked out, you see Xavier come in the ring, and Xavier seems to be a little off. He seems to be very much, like what the fuck is going on type of behavior. He doesn't really understand what was happening or why it happened. And he's looking at Odyssey like, why the fuck is you even here? Who are you? You know what I mean? When most people would just be glad that they got the help, Xavier seemed to be taken aback by it. He wasn't as ecstatic as Kofi was or as excited as Kofi was. Now, when they got to the back, Odyssey and Kofi was dapping it up, and he was like, appreciate you coming out there. We need that help. We needed that W. That's going to get us back on track. We appreciate that. Now, Xavier came walking up with the same confused face, same attitude that he had out there in the ring. And it seemed like he just was not feeling the fact that Odyssey was there and helped them get this W. And he was just like, okay, what's up? Like, who are you? Like, what? He was like, hey, Xavier, listen, I've been a fan of y'all's. And then Kofi explained, was like, hey, I ran into Odyssey a couple weeks back. What was last week? And I talked to him and I told him like, hey, we got an issue. We need a little bit of help. And we talked about it. And Odyssey was like, no problem. I will be there. I got you. I got your back. And Xavier was like, okay. And it just seemed like he was not feeling what was being put down. It seemed like he's not a happy camper. It seems like Karrion Kross's reverse psychology tactics seem to be working on Xavier. Pretty soon, I see Xavier turning on Kofi, and it's going to be a doozy when he do. Kofi and Xavier have both been begging to be heels, and I know that Xavier is going to be nasty as a heel. So we'll see how that plays out. But I see him turning on Kofi very, very soon. Now, it'd be a nice little swerve if Kofi turned on Xavier and had Odyssey as his number one man's. You know what I'm saying? I think that would be a nice little way to flip it. But whatever works, whatever makes it work is fine by me. Now, The last thing that happened, we saw Sami Zayn. They let Braun Breaker's ass talk, which I muted the TV because there was nothing that he needed to say that I needed to hear personally. So I muted the TV because I didn't give a damn. Um, Braun Breaker talked, and then they flipped to Sami. Sami basically was in the back, and Ilya was talking to him, telling him he was a great champion, you know. And if you're going back after that championship, you'll get it back. I'm glad that Ilya's back. Ilya was in a nice green suit today with a nice turtleneck. It's pretty hot for a turtleneck, but he looked good. He always dressed nice. Ilya is like one of the dudes that always dress really, really nice. He dresses very well. But anyways, Jey Uso walked up, and it seemed like Sami was a little down on his luck. You know, down on my luck, back against the wind. He seemed real sad. And Jey Uso was like, hey, you know, don't worry about it. You're going to go get your rematch, get your championship back, and you're going to be the new Intercontinental Champion again. Okay, we're going to do that, yeet. And then Sami was like, I don't know, man. This time it feels different. He was like, nah, man, it ain't like that. You're going to go get that championship back. Sami was like, nah, I don't know. He was like, nah, you're going to go get your title back. And then, how about you and I take care of this Judgment Day problem, become the tag team champions, and then, you know, we handle our business, and you become a double champ. Huh? And Sami was like, all right. All right, he was like, what you think, Yeet? He was like, you know, Yeet. Yeah, I got my title shot. So Samuel is going after Brian Breaker next week. Not only is Brian Breaker and Sami having a title match next Monday, it is a 2 out of 3 falls match, which means this is going to be the main event for Monday Night Raw. So y'all know how this is more than likely going to go. Somebody's going to get the first fall, probably Braun. Sami's going to get the second, and then it's going to be a battle for the third. That's going to be a long match. By 10:30, that match is going to start, and it's going to start rolling. It's going to be a long night next Monday. It's going to be a long night. Now, I'll get to Rhea Ripley in them in a minute. Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are not stopping in their insatiable appetite for each other. In fact, it seems that this feud has not only continued, but it has broadened. They have added kerosene to this fire. Now, at SummerSlam, if you missed it, Drew McIntyre low-blowed CM Punk, was able to pin him, and then stole his bracelet that his wife represents his wife and his dog once again. He's been parading around with this bracelet like a trophy. It's quite disgusting. Again, this is when a hero becomes a villain. Anyways, CM Punk came out there all smiles, made it very clear that he was a happy man in spite of his loss to Drew McIntyre. He said that he knew he lost and that he knew that this was going to be an uphill battle, but he's been at the bottom of the totem pole before, and he has no problem with working his way back up to getting to where he needs to be, and that's possibly headlining WrestleMania. That's the goal. But first, he's got to deal with Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre still has something that belongs to him, and Drew McIntyre has turned this feud into something that it didn't have to go into. And so CM Punk made it very clear that he wanted Drew McIntyre part 2. But instead of getting Drew McIntyre, he got Seth freaking Rollins. Now, if you recall, the last time that we saw Seth, he was laid out with a GTS by CM Punk. Seth also made it very clear that if either one of them touched him, that he was going to put their asses down. Well, CM Punk did touch him, if we're being fair. And so he came out there and he only had a few words to say. He took off his coat and he said very plainly, I am so glad that you're in a good mood because I am too. And he said, I've been waiting for 10 years to put your ass in the dirt. and now it's finally my time. So we went up on the steps, got to the ring ropes. They had a little tizzy, and they were getting ready to go at it. And that's when Drew McIntyre decided to cause enough distraction. He really didn't get into Punk's head until he mentioned the bracelet that he was wearing, which really irritated CM Punk. This is one of the reasons why CM Punk lost at SummerSlam, which lends a lot of credence to what Cedric Alexander was trying to tell Trick Williams some time ago. When you let your emotions lead you, it can lead you down a path of destruction. You have to be smart but logical. You need to move with intention and stop allowing people to control you by your emotions. While we understand that that bracelet means a lot to you, Drew McIntyre knows it means a lot to you, which is why he uses it to lord over you. You gotta find another way to circumvent him. Drew McIntyre is a pretty easy target to take off his game. He's not hard to swerve and swivel. All he needs is a nudge and he goes over the edge. So instead of being the emotional CM Punk, you need to be cold and calculated CM Punk. But he's not here yet. Hopefully, he'll arrive soon. But for now, he's not here. As he went after CM Punk, well, after CM Punk went after Drew, Seth was attacked brutally by Bronson Reed. Bronson Reed hit Seth Rollins with multiple tsunamis. Multiple. Okay? And every time the producers, the refs, everybody just stood there watching him be laid out time and time again by Bronson Reed. No one did anything. Adam's wide hipped ass never came out there. There was no stopping or holding him on the top rope. Nobody pulled him down. They didn't do anything. He viciously attacked Seth, unprovoked, might I add. There was no reason for him to attack him. None whatsoever. He did it because he didn't get his way. So everybody wants to know, well, why do people feel like they could do that to get their way? Well, Brian Breaker is a very good example of when you exhibit bad behavior, you get rewarded for it. What did they do with Brian Breaker after he viciously attacked not only Ilya Dragunov, but also Ricochet and took Ricochet out? All right. He viciously attacked both of them. What did they do? They rewarded him with the match against Sam. What happened after that? 2 matches later, Brian Breaker's walking around with a fucking championship. So what did you think Bronson Reed was going to think he had to do in order to get people to see him and notice him? He had to be a little whiny bitch of a man, just like Brian Breaker does. Because that's the only way that Adam seems to get any notice of you. It's the only time he really understands the seriousness of what you're trying to do is if you out here defying orders, defying authority to the max. That's the only time that you can get any type of comeuppance or any type of respect. Drew McIntyre is also another example of that. So here we are. You've got 3 prime examples of people having bad behavior and then being rewarded for it. So sure, Adam shows off the rails because he likes it that way. And now one of your top superstars has been brutally assaulted because of it. Now they say they took him to the hospital. He may have suffered from internal bleeding. I will say there was some blood that came out of his mouth during the match. It wasn't a pretty sight, I'll tell you that. It was not a pretty sight. I guess they'll update us on Seth's kayfabe injury, and more than likely he'll come back with taped ribs and ready to roll. Okay? Y'all are mad irritating. I want you to understand that. Anyways. Now, let's talk about Rhea, Dom, Damian Priest, and the New Judgment Day. Damian Priest came out there on a mission. He stomped his way to the ring. Made it very clear that he ain't want to talk about shit. Finn Balor, get your ass down here and get your ass whooped. Finn didn't answer. He then says, We supposed to be family. You supposed to be my people. You know my story. You know better than anybody what I've been through and how I didn't have nobody. You knew this. And you did what you did to me anyway. He was like, and you know what? What I realized is I didn't need you. In the time frame that I've become champion and how I moved as a champion, I gained a massive family in the process. So I ain't need you, and I still don't. But you gonna get this ass whooping though. And that's when I guess he activated cerebral Finn Balor. He decided to sit in the dark on some edge shit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The original leader of Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. Now, Finn's explanation as to why he cost Damian Priest the title was that Damian faltered on the original deal of the Judgment Day. And that was when the new Judgment Day was formed with Finn and Damian, there were no leaders and they all worked together as a unit. He said as soon as Damian became champion, that all changed. He was left out in the cold and everybody had to answer Damian Priest. He was tired of that. He said, you broke my heart. You cheated me. He said it wasn't that long ago that I was going after the world championship. And he said the image of you standing there while I lost the opportunity to face off or be champion is forever burned in my skull. So I laid in wait for a year. I waited and I waited. And as soon as I had my opportunity, I took it. And I took away the one thing you love the most. And I destroyed your precious Judgment Day. And I rebuilt it the way it needed to be. And then all of a sudden, into the out of the shadows comes Liv Morgan's pale ass, her pale ass boyfriend, Carlito and JD McDonough. It's a pale version of the Judgment Day. It's a weaker version of the Judgment Day. And by any means does it strike any fear in anybody's hearts. And no, it doesn't, babe. Now, Finn tells Damian that he don't have no interest in fighting him. He don't want to fight him. He don't want to take that satisfaction away from JD McDonough. He wants JD McDonough to be able to have that opportunity to take out Damian Priest. You didn't want him in Judgment Day anyway, and now he's going to take you out. I was like, this is who you send to fight Damian. It's JD McDonough. This is your this is your enforcer of sorts. Wow. Oh, wowzers. Oh, wowzers. That's crazy. Being that person that pretends to be your homie, but hey, you know you the whole time. It was an interesting time, but that was the goal the whole time. As soon as he became champion, it was TikTok on some carrying cross shit. Now, later on in the night, the boys ended up, cutting promos on each other. And JD McDonough was like, you didn't want me in Judgment Day anyway. He was like, you didn't want me in the Judgment Day because you knew that I was going to have Finn's ear. And now I'm in the Judgment Day and you're out and I'm a world champion and you're not. And I'm like, sure, whatever makes you happy. He said, the titles are here and we're here to stay. And as soon as I get done with you, we're going to move forward and proceed with Finn Balor moving into title contingency as well. Because that's the only thing that I can think of is what they plan on doing. But I don't see that happening for them either. There's no way Gunther's giving up that title to Finn. If he does, I'll be fucking shocked. But anyways, Damian Priest was basically like, y'all the ones, y'all started this shit. Now I'm finna finish it. He said, it's a lot of bullets in the chamber. He said, I got enough bullets for all you bitches. I got one for your own boy, JD McDonough. I damn sure got one for Carlito's punk ass. Oh, Dirty Dom, I got you too. But Finn, I got a special bullet for you. It's special. It's real nice. Shined up. real pretty, and it's gonna make sure it goes right to where it needs to be. Now, the boys was out there fighting, and then that's when Finn came out there as Damien was getting ready to win. Finn came out there on the attack. So did Liv. So did Dominic. And so did Carlito. And JD McDonough joined in. Now, Damien was able to hold his own against all members of the Judgment Day. But Liv Morgan was walking around with her jean drawers on. And she decided to attack. So once she got Finn out the way, because she pulled Finn down from suffering that razor's edge, she got Finn out the way. She stood there. That's when Dom chop blocked him, and they started beating him up. His music hit. Rhea came out there, and Rhea attacked Liv, busted that bitch's head on the damn post, laid her out, y'all. Was tearing her ass up. Tearing her up. And if it hadn't been for Dominic's bitch eyes, she'd have been dead to rights. You heard me. Now, Dominic got Liv out of there, but they left JD McDonough to the wolves because JD was still attacking Damian Priest. There was no Finn. Finn was nowhere to be found. Carlito was the only one still out there. Rhea got in the ring, and JD stood in front of her. She smiled, and that's when Damian was on the attack. Rhea headbutted the shit out of JD McDonough. And then JD got laid out. They hugged. Rhea and Damian hugged each other because they've been down like 4 flats on the Cadillac since NXT. You feel me? They best friends. Child. Now, not only do we have to deal with old bloodline versus the new bloodline, we got to deal with the old Judgment Day with Rhea and Damian versus the new Judgment Day with Liv Morgan, Finn Balor, and fucking Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonough, and goddamn Carlito. And you know what's interesting about this whole situation is that originally Liv Morgan and Finn were trying to stop the Judgment Day along with AJ Styles. AJ Styles ain't nowhere to be found though. It's just very interesting to me. That is an interesting thing to see, if that makes sense. I'm curious about it. I'm very curious. Anyways, so we have that. I'm pretty sure Bash Up and Lynn is going to end up not the new Bonnie and Clyde. Hey, Remy. Yeah, only they ain't getting down like that. You know, Bonnie and Clyde was together and they was living their best life. Rhea and Damian just living their best life platonically. Like he said, platonically. Anyways, so the last match of the night belonged to American Made, which I ain't finna lie to y'all. That name E. That name E. To you, Chad. You did that with that name. American Made is real cute. I like it. So American Alpha get to keep their name. They don't have to give up the name that Chad Gable gave them. Chad Gable was like told Maxine and them, you can keep the damn name because I got a new family and they better than y'all anyway. It's definitely an upgrade, bitch. One thing about it that I don't like is Ivy switching teams real smooth like that and letting Chad Gable tell her what she can and can't say. That's real ignorant because not too long ago you was on Maxine's ass about her allowing Chad Gable to disrespect her, and here you are in the same position doing the same motherfucking thing, bitch. I guess all the muscles and everything else don't mean a damn thing. Girl. Anyways, child. So American Made was going up against the Wyatt Sicks. Now, this match was really fun to watch because everybody had high expectations. I'll tell you something. Rowan, Gacy, and Dexter, They were a well-oiled machine. There were few times where the Creed brothers were able to get them off of their game, but it was very few and far between. When I tell you that they had an answer for everything that the Creed brothers and Gable were throwing at them, they had an answer for everything. This match was my favorite match of the night. It was solid from start to finish. They really worked well together, and you can tell that they perfected their move set and made sure that their move sets played off of each other well, especially Gacy and Loomis. I don't know what they've been doing with the time that they've been off, but they have been moving like a well-oiled machine in that ring, and them together is fucking magic. When I tell you, this is hard to keep up with the Creed brothers. Don't get me wrong, Chad Gable and the Creed brothers are superior when it comes to especially basic tackle technical style wrestling. There's very few people in the WWE who can hang with them on that level, and Gunther is one of them, and so is Ludwig Kaiser. But there are very few people who can hang with Gable and the Creeds on that level. And when I tell you that Gacy, Loomis, and Rowan were doing it and they damn near outworked them, I mean that. That match was spectacular, but it really proved the strength of the Wyatt Six just amongst those three men. It didn't show what Uncle Howdy was capable of, which we know he's a Sister Abigail, and it didn't show what Abby the Witch is capable of either, which I'm very curious as to how they're going to utilize her as well. I hope she's just not like an anchor in the group like Rhea was to the Judgment Day, or like what Liv is to the current Judgment Day. I really want her to be a standout character, but for her to move and make moves on her own. I don't want her to be like what Scarlett is to Carrion and all of that. I don't want that. I want her to be I want her to fully function, but let her be Uncle Howdy's extension. He moves through her, like when he talks, she moves whenever he says, but she's able to get her own shit. You know what I'm saying? This was an excellent match. They didn't wrestle in the dark. If you didn't watch it, they didn't wrestle in the dark. They brought the house lights up, spotlight on the ring, darkened on the outside, just like any other match. It was very, very well done. The match itself was spectacular. There wasn't a lot of frills and thrills in terms of, the horror aspect until the end, but I will say that they were able to maintain themselves as a strong entity. As a unit, they worked very, very well together, which lent a lot of credence to Uncle Howdy's edict and how he has been moving lately. He doesn't like when families are fractured intentionally, especially by the selfishness of the leader. He doesn't like that. So he makes it very clear that if you decide to turn on your family and be destructive because of it, or use your family as a scapegoat, he is going to be the reckoning of you and anyone who is aligned with you, which is why the Creed brothers fell to the Wyatt Six today, along with Chad Gable. It was a very good match, and it was so awesome to see them out there wrestling, having a really good time doing it. And I know that Bray Wyatt was up and having smiling down at looking at his creation. I just know that he is so proud of his brother. He's proud of Rowan. He's proud of everybody for continuing his legacy the way that they have. And it doesn't take away from his legacy. It's adding to it. It's a new chapter to his legacy. And that's the cool part. So overall, Monday Night Raw did live up to their expectations. There was some cool down points in between the show, which is okay. You need those in order to succeed and keep pushing forward. But for the most part, they did continue on with the stories that we all wanted to see and hear. And they made it very clear that the the original tribal chief is still the man around these parts, when they let everybody who didn't get to watch SummerSlam see Roman Reigns' return in its entirety. They played the whole clip. And then they announced that Roman Reigns would return to SmackDown this Friday on Fox. Now, for those of you who were wondering about Jacob Fatu and his ankle injury, he is in a walking boot, which leads me to believe that he has either a hairline fracture that needs to heal on its own, or he has a severe sprain and they don't want him to put a lot of weight on his ankle because he can't. So they're putting him in the walking boot to help alleviate some of that weight, take down some of the swelling, keep his foot lifted, elevated, and he should be fine maybe in a few weeks tops. If it's a sprain, he probably be gone for maybe 3 weeks at the most. Probably till Bash at Berlin, he'll be out. If it is a hairline fracture, it could be anywhere from a month to 2 months for him to heal and be back ready to roll. But we'll wait and see. He did post on his social media, "We're coming for you, Roman Reigns," with the boot on his foot. So hopefully he is going to be 100% okay in a few weeks. I would like to see the Wyatt Sicks versus Final Testament down the line. It'd be interesting if Karrion Cross wasn't running around here like a old Southern preacher every 2 seconds. So that explains why the Wyatt Sicks logo appeared behind Dakota. Maybe Abby will go for her. Maybe. Rico's here. Hairline fractures suck. I got one on my first day of wrestling school on my left arm. Ooh. By the way, y'all, I had a blast this weekend with my husband and my fam. Rico came through, Alexis came through. I didn't get to have everybody who I invited to come through, but I'm not mad at them. I understand why they all didn't get to come through. But next time I can get all my fam together, it's going to be a fun time if I can. Now, I was able to also have my brunch the next day, which that didn't go the way I wanted it in terms of the people. But my homegirl Britt came through and she was a fun time and she ate herself stupid. She took home food, okay? She was very much happy. I made sure everybody ate. We was cooking for 2 days, y'all. 2 fucking days. We was cooking for 2 days. So I was just happy. Everybody was happy. Rico said she cooked some good motherfucking chicken. He said that spinach dip. Baby, I still got spinach dip. Might have to freeze that spinach dip, babe. Put it in the freezer. Mm-hmm. The spinach dip. Oh, yeah. I might turn it into like a good mac and cheese, Jared. What you think? You mix it with the mac and then I can put some I can make a nice mac and cheese with it. What? The spinach dip. You can have a spinach mac. He don't care. He happy. He don't have to do nothing for the next 2 days. The next week, he ain't got to do shit. I made homemade chocolate chip cookies for the second time yesterday. Well, good. He said, I was struggling to get through Solo and Cody because I was slipping into a food coma. Yeah, I made sure that they ate and they took food home. We had a good time, though. Rico bought me some Arbor Mist, and that shit slapped. And he got me a cup. Rico got me a green chalice, and I was so happy. It was good. I drank out of my chalice. I was a queen. Anyways, I'm going to show y'all. It was the first match of the night. I recorded Alexis and Rico, and they was there. And they did Rhea Ripley's entrance. Hold on, y'all got to see it. You have to see it. The demons in your dreams. I eat, sleep, bleed. Probably gonna get flagged for that by the WWE, but I do not care because it was awesome. I put it on my TikTok and it's got like 6,000 views on it. It's got really, they're really happy about it. And I was yes. Then Gerard and his brother mentioned Helsing also been abridged, and I perked up. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna talk about my the watch party and everything on Wednesday, and I'll make sure y'all get all of the deets because it was hilarious. Rico was a fun time. Alexis is always a fun time. She's been here before, and we've had a good time. We just gonna go and kidnap Nicole next time and bring her. She was so upset because she missed out on everything, and the brunch, I had cooked so much food for the brunch. I had sausage gravy, we had waffles, we had eggs, we had grits. There was bacon, there was sausage, there was chicken, there was hella biscuits. Okay. Oh, it was it was a time, but I won't trade it for the world. It was awesome. Said, well, you got two in case one breaks. Period. I'm a happy camper. He said, because we had our boots on. The boots. Rico's boots are fire, by the way. I love his boots. But I had a really good time for SummerSlam. SummerSlam was it was really cool and very chill. And I got to meet some of my folk, and that was probably the best part. And my mom was happy. I was able to keep my dad up, and I fed him this weekend. He had a good time too, even though he couldn't come down for all the festivities. He wasn't feeling too well, but he still enjoyed himself the weekend, which that's all that mattered to me. I got my nephew involved in wrestling now. He loves it and enjoys it. My other nephew was enjoying it. My big nephew, my oldest nephew was here. He was having a great time. I was so happy, and they were happy. So SummerSlam, and SummerSlam was in Cleveland. We got one of the biggest attendance records in history for SummerSlam. That was awesome. The city was so welcoming to everybody. Everybody that I talked to that came here really enjoyed themselves and enjoyed being in the city. They love being downtown. Ugh, I'm just so happy. I'm so happy for my city, and I'm just happy that we had a good time. Oh yeah, y'all was having so much fun. It was fun. They were yelling at me though because I was still cooking when they got there, and I was trying to help AJ get everything seasoned and get it dressed and then get it in the fryer, and they was mad at me because, because I was still cooking, and the show had started and I was still cooking. They were yelling at me. Child, send me a plate. I'm gonna send Alexis the recipe for some stuff and let her have some substitutions for stuff, and y'all can make it down there. Damn, now I want to play, child. Don't tell Alexis, but I overcharged. I did overcharge my account getting gas on the way home. So a bitch is broke. Oh my god. Oh shit. And you ain't take a picture of the brunch plates? No, because I do have some pictures of some things, which I'm gonna post to my socials. And Britt came and she was eating and she just got to eating. She ain't take no pictures of nothing. None of us took pictures of anything. We was just eating and really enjoying it. And that was one of the things that a lot of people seem to be upset with me about is because I didn't post a lot for SummerSlam. But generally I was just enjoying being around my people. Like I don't really get the opportunity to just sit down and actually enjoy the show for what it is and not have to film and then post and then go live and do all of that. So when I don't have to do that or when I choose to not do that, it's very, very relaxing for me to just be able to enjoy the show. And I was having a good time. I was enjoying the show. I was spending time with my folk and the people that came up here to see me. And I just did it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was watching. There was nobody with their phone out. Like we all were watching the show and enjoying the show. The only time I recorded were the times that I posted. Those were the only times I recorded. And that was only because I really wanted everybody to hear how like my whole family was down there and Rico was there and Alexis was there and my brother-in-law was there and we was chilling. We was really everybody in there was having a good time. All of us. Especially when Roman popped back up. It was fun. Like, let me move up there, child. He said, because you almost missed LA wearing white. I did. Now I didn't I almost missed the ending of Rhea's match, but like I said, I knew exactly what was gonna happen with that. So I wasn't surprised. I knew it was gonna happen. I knew exactly how it was gonna happen, so I wasn't surprised. But LA Knight had on all white with the black boot. He looked good. He probably smelled good. You know, and he won. And that's all that matters. And I ain't gonna lie, Logan Paul's gear was lightweight fire. But again, he desecrated the Browns only to lose. He's such a loser. Fucking loser. Anyways, he said it's called having a good time, period. No phones like it was the 80s. Facts. Child, I was gonna Rico was a riot. Okay. Him and my mom were having the bestest time. Rico was he was going from room to room, entertaining everybody, just cutting up, just floating from room to room, just acting a fool. But I'm just glad that he had a good time. He had a smile on his face and he was able to enjoy himself because it's usually like that in my house. And that was us at half capacity. My siblings, not all my siblings weren't there. So we wasn't even like, and when it's just like there's no wrestling on and we chilling, we having a good time. Oh, it's on. Like hopefully they'll be able to come back because usually when it's family time and we're downstairs, we're playing Uno, playing cards, drinking, having a good time. It's fun. It's just fun being there. It's just fun having a good time. He said, yeah, he did rip into his boots. He wanted the white one. He was just having a good time, which I was happy about. Alexis had a good time as well, and I was happy that they did. I made sure they ate. They had a good time. They took some food back to the hotel. The next day, I got up, I cooked, I had Britt come. I was supposed to have some more podcast fam come, but they ended up not being able to make it. So we ate, we vibed and got to know each other better. And it was fun. It was just a really, really fun time all around. The whole weekend was really dope. And I still got food in here. Like we still I got hella croissants in here. I got so much shit in here. Some of that stuff gotta go in the freezer. Ugh, girl. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. So I'll go into it more on Wednesday. We'll talk more. Tomorrow is the last day of the Great American Bash. We're gonna have a bunch of matches tomorrow. Ethan Page is gonna be going up against Oro Mensa. You're gonna have Trick Williams facing off against Pete Dunne. You're gonna have um the tag team titles contested by the Rascals. They're going to be going up against Axiom and Frazier. And Gallus is going to be facing Gallus's Joe Coffee is going to be facing off against Joe Hendry. So it's going to be a lot going on, and I cannot wait. It's going to be a fun time. And of course, you're going to have some women's matches in between. Tatum Paxley is going to be going up against Kaylani Jordan for the North American Championship. It's about to be fun. So make sure you guys come back and tune in for that. If I don't go live tomorrow after NXT, just know I'm taking a break and I'll be back Wednesday and we'll go over everything Wednesday. And then we'll just chill and talk about SummerSlam and how everything went and everything we did on Saturday and Sunday. And then we'll go into SBC chat like we always do. Now, just for reference, okay, just so y'all know, said I could have dropped my croissant. You could have took some more. You could have took some home. It was a whole box of them. Shit. Bash in Berlin is August 31st, and the very first match that is scheduled for Bash in Berlin is Randy Orton versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. After that show is over with, we got October 5th, and it is Bad Blood, which more than likely is where we will see a lot of things finish out or fall out. So Finn and Damien finally will meet and Bash and probably at Bad Blood. You probably see the final finale of Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan at Bad Blood. You might see or at least an addendum to it because they may have them inside the elimination chamber. You may see some finale of Braun Breaker and Sami Zayn inside Bad Blood, but there's a lot that could go on with Bad Blood, and Bad Blood is one of those places where we can get a mix up. So we might see Seth freaking Rollins, or you might see CM Punk, you might see Drew McIntyre, and their feud come to a head. I think the reason why Seth was pulled out of this was to finish out with Drew and CM Punk heading into Bad Blood. More than likely, they're going to be inside Hell in a Cell, which I'm fine with that. end it, dead it, and then move forward with Punk and Seth. More than likely, their feud will be finally get to the beginning. It will probably start at Royal Rumble. If I know Triple H, that's when he's going to start their feud. But Bad Blood is in October. In between that time, we probably will have Crown Jewel, and then Survivor Series War Games has been set in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and it's going to be on November 30th. So you're going to have plenty of time between Bad Blood and War Games, because in between there is going to be Crown Jewel. So you're going to get another 3 week setup. Now in NXT, there's a couple more PLEs. No Mercy is set to come up for NXT. And of course, we always have NXT Deadline, which has the Iron Survivor Challenge. And that is usually the last PLE of the WWE. It usually happens in December, around December 10th and 13th is usually the time frame of that PLE. And then they have um, Halloween Havoc on the 31st, I think, this year. Let me double check when they're going to have Halloween Havoc. So Halloween Havoc is probably going to be on the 29th of October this year, seeing as how Halloween itself is on a Thursday. So those are all your PLEs. All right. Y'all make sure y'all come back here Wednesday, because I'm not sure I'm going to go live tomorrow. So come back here Wednesday. We'll talk about NXT and we'll talk about SummerSlam and everything that happened here while y'all didn't come. Some of y'all that didn't come, y'all missed out. So hopefully next time y'all pop up. But I'll see you guys next time. Y'all have a good night.